What's up, my comic comrades? The next big movie piece for the MCU, Captain America Brave New World, is right around the corner. And despite the mountain of negative rumors and press surrounding it, it's still got a couple important additions and first in the franchise going for it, including the introduction of Red Hulk and Sam Wilson Captain America getting his very first movie as the Star-Spangled Avenger. Yes, he was introduced as Cap in the Falcon and Winter Soldier series, but this is the first movie with Sam wielding the shield. So with that being the case, we're gonna give you all the complete history of Sam Wilson as Captain America before the movie drops. And I'll tell you right up front, Sam Wilson became Captain America in the comics just over 10 years ago, so the history is nowhere near as deep as Steve Rogers' Cap. Either way, we're gonna break down exactly how Sam landed the job and what inspired the MCU to make this change in live action. So let's not waste any time and get right into it. Sam Wilson first became Captain America in Captain America Volume 7, issue 25 in December of 2014. But his journey to Captain America all really started in Captain America Volume 7, issue 20. At the beginning of the story, we see a villain named Iron Nail make his way into a secret S.H.I.E.L.D. base that held a secret S.H.I.E.L.D. helicopter called Gungnir. Iron Nail would take control of Gungnir, activating its ability to transform into a gigantic battling robot, all Pacific Rim style. Iron Nail then used it to attack the country. Now, to make matters worse, Captain America was the only hero available to combat this threat. Even his buddy Falcon couldn't help him because his wings were broken at the time. But of course, that's not gonna stop Captain America, as he says, "I can do this all day." So in issue 21, he started fighting Iron Nail. However, while he was doing that, the giant robot was destroying the city. And he can't let that happen, so he ditches Iron Nail briefly to go ask a wounded Maria Hill, "How do I stop this thing?" Being dazed, she's all like, "Where?" He says, "Gungnir. It's going to vaporize the city. The controls are smashed. How do I stop it?" She tells him, "Core reactor. Destroying the power source is the only way to stop it now. Sub-level A1. But as Captain America is running to go do that, Iron Nail shows up, cutting him off, trying to stop him by piercing him with his tendrils. Now, an important little note here is that Iron Nail has the ability to suck the super soldier serum out of Steve with his tendrils, so that's not good. However, Steve is able to rip the tendrils out and starts beelining it for the core reactor once again, while Iron Nail is trying to stop him with his tendrils. This has actually got to be pretty nerve-wracking for Captain America, because one wrong slip-up and Iron Nail is going to take Captain America's powers, but Captain America doesn't care. He just cares about saving lives no matter what. Now, as Captain America is almost at the core reactor, he is impaled in the back with Iron Nail's tendrils. Iron Nail then says, "The fall of another empire. The world will be better off." But Captain America says to himself, "Time still. One shot. Stand up," as Captain America uses every ounce of strength he has left to throw his shield at the core reactor, as Iron Nail is literally sucking the super soldier serum out of his body. It works and the core reactor explodes, shutting down Gungnir. But when Iron Nail walks over to Captain America, who's now laying on the ground, and turns him over, we see Steve has been reverted to an old man, as the super soldier serum has been stripped from his body. So obviously, with Steve old and weakened, Iron Nail goes to deliver the death blow, but not before Falcon can come flying in, hitting him away, with Iron Nail ultimately dying in a fire. Falcon then picks up his friend and flies him to safety, and the comic ends with Falcon, Nick Fury, and Maria Hill tending to a withered Steve Rogers as they fly away in a helicopter. Now, after this, from issues 22 to 24, Armin Zola put a tear in the 616 reality and has his armies invade Earth. Zola originally planned to take out his longtime enemy Captain America, but Red Skull tells him, yeah, he's no longer a threat. Iron Nail sucked out the super soldier serum, so he's like an old man now. Meanwhile, Stark, Banner, and Thor are trying to figure out how to make Steve Rogers a super soldier again. Then amidst all of this, Ian Rogers, Steve Rogers' son from a different reality, comes to help with the Zola problem. So Ian's gonna help the Avengers stop Zola, but problems keep getting worse as the Un-Avengers show up. They're mutated Bizarro versions of the Avengers that Zola and his army are using to destroy the world. However, the tides change when Falcon decides to take a bomb that Zola plans to use to kill all the heroes and fly as high as he can into the sky with it. As he's flying it as far away from everyone as he can, Steve over comm says, "Sam, what are you doing?" Falcon then replies, "You and Sharon deserve some peace, Steve. Promise me you'll find some. Take some time. You know, smell the flowers." Steve replies, "We all will, Sam. Together, I promise. You get that bomb far enough, and you turn around." Falcon replies, "Stop it. There's no time, Steve. Just do like I said. Don't you go on killing yourself. You served your time, soldier. Be with your son. Marry Sharon. Because I promise, if you don't," but before he could finish his sentence, the bomb blows up above New York. Now, at the very beginning of issue 25, we see Steve and the rest of the heroes look on at the explosion in horror, as Steve recounts the first time he met Sam Wilson. While this is happening, Iron Man flies up to catch Falcon's body before he hits the ground, at which point Steve and Sharon go over to Sam to mourn their friend. Steve says everything he ever did was for somebody else. Sam then opens his eyes and says, "Yeah, I mean, that dude had it all. Good looks, charm," as the Avengers, Steve and Sharon, gasp. They all then get him up on his feet and start hugging him. Now, you may be asking, how the hell did Sam Wilson survive an explosion like that? Well, he says he used the vibranium wings made by Stark to shield him from from the explosion. The comic then jumps to a week later where we see Steve has called a massive meeting with pretty much all of our heroes. He tells all the heroes, I can no longer serve as Captain America. I'm taking on a new title. Henceforth, I will be known as General Geriatric. They all stare at him and he replies, nothing, as it was clearly a joke. Steve then says, come on, this isn't a goodbye, so there's no need for the long faces. I'm making Avengers Mansion my command station. Sharon and I will be here to offer tactical support and orchestrating missions. I'll be serving as mission operator, doing my best to keep you safe while you do what you do best. So this isn't a solemn occasion, but in fact, a happy one. And to make it all official, I've called you here to introduce to you my replacement. A man who I love with all my heart. Avengers, allow me to introduce your new Captain America. And on the next page, we see it's Sam Wilson in his brand new Captain America uniform saying, you guys all knew it was me, didn't you? There's literally no drama left in this reveal. Still, pretty sexy costume, right? Spider-Man says, you could use some sequins. Nothing more patriotic than sequins. Steve then says, it does feel like it's missing something, Sam, as he grabs his shield and gives it to Sam. Sam then looks at the shield and says, I'm not one for speeches, never have been, but let's give it a whirl. Avengers, assemble, as all the heroes rally behind him. And that, my friends, is how Sam Wilson became Captain America in the comics. Before moving on, I will say clearly the way Sam became Captain America in the MCU is different, but there is a very key similarity. As we know, an older Steve Rogers is the one who gave Sam the shield at the end of Endgame on a park bench. And as we just saw here in the Captain America issue 25, an older Steve Rogers gives Sam the shield as well. So the MCU at least kept that similarity, but now let's move on to story arcs and publication history. All right, the first story we're going to talk about is from Captain America Sam Wilson Volume 1, specifically the first 6 issues of the series in the story titled Not My Captain America. As the title of the story implies, it deals with Sam facing deep political and social struggles being the new Captain America. You see Sam start addressing issues like systemic racism, immigration, and corruption of the government. In turn, we start to see Sam lose trust in S.H.I.E.L.D. and also encounter the evil Serpent Society. He actually comes into confrontation with the Serpent Society in the first issue. This is a major reason why initially before reshoots of Captain America Brave New World, it included the Serpent Society. In fact, WWE superstar Seth Rollins was playing King Cobra of the Serpent Society and even filmed all the scenes for the role. But after reshoots and cuts, Marvel Studios decided to cut the Serpent Society out of the film. Now, no matter how you feel about this decision, one thing is for sure. The reason they were originally included in the film is because they were part of this popular Sam Wilson Captain America story. In any case, we really see Sam divided between the patriotism of Captain America and activism, because obviously with this new mantle and power, if you will, he wants to fight and take on controversial issues and causes. But while some see him as a hero for this also makes him very divisive with others as they have a difference of opinion. Hence the phrase, not my Captain America, obviously taking the real world term of not my president, reflecting on the pushback he gets from those who feel he doesn't represent their version or vision of Captain America and what he should stand for. This story is actually pretty heavy and really highlights Sam's struggle to find out what it means to be Captain America and how carrying that red, white, and blue shield comes with a lot of responsibility and pressure, as an entire country has expectations of what he should and shouldn't be. But next we have volume 2 of the same series in the story called Standoff. This one is really cool because we see Sam team up with Bucky and Steve Rogers, who temporarily regained his strength and youth. Basically what's going down here is Sam discovered S.H.I.E.L.D's secret project in a small town called Pleasant Hill, which is designed to imprison supervillains. This is where things get interesting. Using pieces of the cosmic cube named Kobik, S.H.I.E.L.D. wipes all the memories of the villains there and transform them into harmless citizens. But you know, of course, this doesn't last forever, and the villains eventually regain their memories and rebel, throwing the town into utter chaos. And this is where Sam teams up with Steve Rogers, who again temporarily regained his youth and powers through the cosmic cube. So naturally the two work together to stop the chaos as well as tackle the moral dilemmas brought up by S.H.I.E.L.D's actions. There's even this really cool moment in the story where Steve is using the Captain America shield to fight, and when he's done, he gives it back to Sam. But Sam says, Steve, are you sure? Steve replies, you bet I am. When I handed you the shield, it didn't come with any conditions. It wasn't alone. You're Captain America, and no matter what I do from here, that doesn't change. Agreed? It was just really cool to see that even with Steve having his powers back, he wasn't about to be like, hey, that means you're no longer Captain America. Give me the shield, Sam. Now, sometime after this, Sam would eventually relinquish the Captain America title for several different reasons. And first and foremost, you have the public pressure and divisiveness of the role, as his approach of being Captain America put him at odds with the public and political leaders quite often, as he chose to take stands on very controversial issues, which in turn shunned or alienated a portion of the American public. You also see throughout his time as Captain America that Sam just wants autonomy. He wants to find himself all on his own rather than living in the shadow of Steve Rogers, having to live up to the role of Captain America. And then you have probably the most obvious reason, the return of Steve Rogers in the sense of him regaining his youth and powers. However, during the Secret Empire story, it was revealed that Steve Rogers had been brainwashed by Hydra and becomes a villain infamously known as Hydra Cap. So Sam is all like, all right, I'll be Captain America again, but once the situation is resolved, he gives up the mantle once more, leaving Steve Rogers as the one and true Captain America once again. This brings us to the 2022 and 2023 Captain America Symbol of Truth series, where Sam would return to the role of Captain America once again, but he wouldn't be alone. Nope. This time he's actually Captain America alongside Steve Rogers. That's right, they would both be Captain America at the same time. Some people may think it's kind of lame having two Captain Americas at the same time, but it was actually pretty interesting because they both operate so differently. So it was cool to see how Steve would handle things and how Sam would handle things. And one of the things that stands out right away is that we see Sam's version of Captain America is more global, not just consolidated to America like his namesake. Sam is concerned about global issues, and in the story starts investigating a conspiracy involving Wakanda and stolen vibranium. This investigation would lead him to White Wolf, the adopted brother of T'Challa, and Crossbones. Essentially, we find out their plan is to destabilize nations by exploiting political tensions. It's a really interesting story, but we see Steve basically being a Captain America for America, while Sam is interested in a global approach, which is interesting and reflects the real world, as some people would say America should just worry about America, and others would be like, no, America needs to interject and help out in other countries when needed. In any case, it is now time to move on to powers and abilities. Now, first and foremost, the thing that makes Sam a much different Captain America than Steve Rogers is that he's not a super soldier, which obviously means he can't do several of the things Steve Rogers could do due to his enhanced abilities. However, Sam is in the peak of human conditioning, much like the Punisher, Daredevil, and Hawkeye, who are all human heroes with no real enhancements, minus Daredevil's sonar sense. But Sam is at the peak of physical conditioning, possessing exceptional strength, endurance, and agility. He's also an expert martial artist. He was trained by Captain America himself along with S.H.I.E.L.D. Because of this, he knows a bunch of different forms of martial arts. Now, something that gives him a leg up from Steve Rogers that Steve didn't possess is Sam is a master of aerial combat because of his wings, as he was originally Falcon. So Sam is extremely skilled in aerial fighting, capable of performing extremely complex maneuvers while flying with his wings. Because of this, he quite literally has the high ground, giving him a huge advantage over ground-based opponents. Speaking of flying, Sam's Captain America suit is extremely advanced. It has retractable wings that allows him to fly at extremely high speeds. But not only that, his wings act as shields, as I said earlier in Captain America 24, as the vibranium ones given to him by Tony Stark quite literally saved his life from a bomb that was made by Zola to take out all the Avengers. And we know for the MCU, his Captain America wings are also extremely durable, as they were made by Wakanda, meaning they too are also made of vibranium, which is how he's going to be able to stand up against the Red Hulk, as vibranium could absorb energy, meaning he will be able to take blows from the Red Hulk because the suit was made by Wakanda. And of course, as Captain America, he has to be a master at throwing that vibranium shield. Not necessarily as proficient or with the complex maneuvers of Steve Rogers' Captain America, as he is not a super soldier, but he still can do some pretty cool things with the shield. Lastly, Sam is a master of weaponry and firearms. He's extremely proficient with knives, advanced technology, and guns. And with all the other tech available to him, he uses his combination of skills and marksmanship very creatively. But now it's time for reading recommendations. If you're looking to check out Sam Wilson in the comics, read Captain America from 2012, issues 20 through 25, Captain America Volume 1, Not My Captain America, Captain America Symbol of Truth, Captain America Sam Wilson Volume 3, Civil War 2, Captain America Sam Wilson 18, and Captain America Symbol of Truth Volume 2, Pax Mohanda. That should be enough to get you all started. There you have it, friends, a history of Sam Wilson Captain America just in time for the brand new Captain America movie. Are you excited to see Sam Wilson Captain America in his first movie? Let us know down in the comments. Other than that, we'll see you next time when we talk about all things comics.